Hello and welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part 17 of the run where we will prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Now, in this run, we will go through every weapon, shield, armor set, talisman, spirit ash, physic tier, and cookbook that you will need no matter what build you're creating in order to prepare. Last time we went through the Lake of Rot, Grand Cloister, and through the Moonlight Altar, finishing Ronnie's questline. And this time, we are starting in Altus Plateau and will be making our way to the Shaded Castle. Now, I know that we haven't done the open world of Altus Plateau, and so it might seem weird that we're doing a legacy dungeon in Altus Plateau first, but it'll all make sense soon. So, starting from the abandoned coffin site of Grace, we're just heading up northeast, and there's going to be a dragon here in a second. You're free to ignore them. Even if you want to do everything that's on the way to Shaded Castle, still not worth killing them as they don't drop any rewards. So, just ignore them and continue on. To the left, there is an NPC named Millicent, and there's a golden seed. Again, if you want to pick that up, you're very free to. I'm saving it for the open world Altus Plateau video. Now, that NPC, Millicent, she's the reason why we're doing the Shaded Castle before the open world. Because in order to continue her quest, you need a certain item in the Shaded Castle. And Altus Plateau is very big, and so I don't want to add Shaded Castle as part of the open world, because then it would be like an hour and a half, and I just don't want a video to be that long. So I'd rather do this first, so that way the open world Altus Plateau video is shorter and more streamlined. Now, here, you make it to the Shaded Castle, and there's two different ways to approach this. The first way is heading off to the right and climbing up here to make it into the Shaded Castle, where there's immediately the first site of Grace. And from here you can go forward. That's the normal way to go, and the way that most people will probably take this. I, however, am going to be taking this the second way. It's not way better, though in my experience it is a bit faster, and so that's why I'm going to be doing it the way I'm doing it. And how this starts out is by heading outside and off to the left. And you just head all the way out here, ignoring all the plant enemies for the sake of time. And here in this field of rubble, you'll find a hostile NPC. They don't have much health, and it is quite easy to kill them because of that. And with their death, you'll get the Anspur Rapier and the Marius armor set. The Anspur is a strength dexterity based thrusting sword with Scarlet Rot buildup. And then from here, don't forget to pick these up as they do stack. But from here, you can head to the very corner of the castle where you can then jump in, and from here you can head off to the left, where there will be this rooftop and some flowers. The flowers are protecting a smithing stone 5, and so you can quickly grab that before heading out. Now here there are a ton of these enemies. They're very slow, and their main thing is just a grab attack, so they're not much of a threat, and you can easily just run by them. And that's what I'm going to be doing for the most part. From here you can drop onto the roof and continue off to the right, or you can head off to the left here to get a somber smithing stone 5, though that does come at the risk of aggroing a very dangerous enemy. Either way, you can head onto this rooftop and then head out over to this lower rooftop. Now I should say this ladder right here, this is the main ladder. And it's one that we're going to be coming back to. For now, that is a depraved perfumer, a very dangerous enemy, because they can back up and they throw fire. A lot of fire. I mean, all the fire. It's everywhere. So they are quite dangerous because of how much fire they can throw it and how quickly they can throw that fire out. And there's not one but two. And as you can see there, that was over half my health bar. And I'm wearing a pretty decent set in terms of defense. And as you can see, they throw it out in a near non-stop stream. So you may want to just avoid them if you can, especially if you're someone who wears a lighter armor sets or doesn't put as many points into your health stat. So whether you take them out or avoid them, you can continue on to the left here, where you should watch out as there is an enemy around the corner. And again, these enemies are quite slow, so you can just avoid them, though there is another depraved perfumer coming up, which is why I killed them here. And as I said, another depraved perfumer, though this one has their back turned to you, so you can get an easy backstab. And they are protecting a smithing stone 5. And then here, you can jump over this ledge to an area with lots of basilisks. These are enemies that spray out a death blight mist, though they are protecting another smithing stone 5. So you can grab that, and then you can make your way out. And then from there, you can then head up the main ladder. If you started from the first side of Grayson went the normal way, then you would head left, and there would be a small drop, and then you just head straight forward, and that would bring you straight to that main ladder. So hopefully that gives you an idea of where you're supposed to go if you started from the main ladder. Now here, there's another one of these things hiding around the corner. There's actually two, though the second one tries to push you off instead of doing a grab attack. And here, there's a clean rot knife. Whether you want to kill them or run past them is up to you. Either way, getting past them, there's a chest with Valkyrie's prosthesis. This is a key item that you're going to need in order to continue Millicent's quest. And it is the entire reason why we came here before doing Altus Plateau open world. Now here, we can jump down onto this roof, and we can just hop between the different roofs until we make it to here. And this gets you the second site of grace for the area. And you can rest here, you can level up if you want, then you can head slightly backwards and off to the east. And you can make your way all the way to the end, where there will be this ladder. Now, that swampy section, there are some items, though nothing good enough to warrant running through the swamp. So, we're just gonna continue on. There's another depraved perfumer. This one protecting a perfume bottle. These are kind of like the cracked pots or ritual pots, I suppose, though for different crafting items. Now here there's another 2 depraved perfumers and a smithing stone 5. So if you want to get their set, that's a good place to grind. Now here, there are lots of drops that you can take, and it may seem weird, but if you take a few selected jumps, don't fall, then around here, you can get a stone sword key. And this brings you to this section. And if you climb up this, then it brings you back to the first site of grace that we got already. And the area we just climbed up from, going down there and heading straight forward gets you to the main ladder. So again, that hopefully gives you an idea of how these areas connect, and can give you a better understanding of where you're supposed to go if you started from the normal site of grace. So continuing on, down here there's a little swampy section, and there's a few items around here, but the only one of importance is this painting, which you can find the second half of that in the open world of Altus Plateau. From there, we can teleport back to this site of grace, the second one, and then we can continue forward, and we can head up this ladder. Heading into here, it can be dark and there's a handful of enemies. Specifically to the left here, there's a page, which like to do these ranged thrusting attacks, so be careful of that. And here there's a ladder. Going up this ladder will get you Perfumer's Cookbook 2, which gets you Poison Spray Mist, which is a poison spray mist, and pretty self-explanatory, and Blood Boil Aromatic, which gives you more damage but also makes you take more damage. So it's a double-edged sword. And neither of those fit with my personal playstyle on this character, so I'm not grabbing it, though it is good enough, at least the Blood Boil Aromatic, for me to mention it. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, you can go up there and get it. If not, you can simply continue on. Now, heading up here, you want to be very careful, as that outside somewhat of a courtyard area has a ton of enemies. And while it may not seem like it at first, almost all of them will aggro onto you. You don't even have to move outside. I mean, as you can see, we didn't even touch the doorway, and yet there were still 2 dogs. And this clean rot knife. And if we give it a few seconds, another dog is going to show up. So, do as much damage as you can. If you can take out the clean rot knight, that's great. If not, then just back up down the stairs, as the clean rot knight almost never goes down the stairs, though the dogs do. So once you clear out the enemies, you can head off to the right, where there's another smithing stone 5, and then heading past that doorway, there's a shortcut ladder in case you die, and an elevator. In case you're wondering, that shortcut ladder, starting from the second set of grace, just head out to the right. And before taking the ladder up that we did before, like before jumping down, there will be another ladder to your left. And from here, this is a somewhat difficult boss. You may know them as the bell-bearing hunter. And they hit pretty hard, and they have very good poise. Though, if you know what attacks to use, you can poise break them pretty consistently. Though, you may take a few swings in trying to do that. Though, once you bring him down, you will be rewarded with the Mirai's Executioner Sword, 24,000 runes, and the Briar Great Shield. And here there's a set of grace that you can come back to later for Patch's quest, and a painting. Now, the Mirai's Executioner Sword is a strength arcane-based greatsword with a unique and very powerful skill. It is also one of the legendary armaments, and I would suggest giving it a try, as it is quite good. Though, the Briar Great Shield, not so much. As you can see, the one we have already is better. And so you only really use this if you're looking to perfect the look. Though, that's everything. I know that this was a shorter part, but again, we just don't want to go with having this part of the open world for Altus Plateau, as it is very large. And as you can see, we got a handful of decent rewards. And We also got Valkyrie's prosthesis. Again, that's the main reason for coming here first. We also got a handful of Smithing Stone 5s, which is nice. Though, that being said, shorter part, still happy with it, and yeah.